My name is Ben Sobiek. I'm online editor with Deer and Deer Hunting magazine. Today I'm going to be talking with our editor-in-chief, Dan Schmidt. Of course, he needs no introduction. But we're going to be talking about the new Blood-Trailing Whitetails CD. And I'm excited to be here talking with Dan. I mean, to be frank, sure, I work with him just about every day here on the magazine and on some other things. But I consider him to be an educator, a mentor, someone I can go to with any question about a deer, and he's going to have the right answer every time. And I'm excited because a lot of what I've learned over the past few years working with Dan is right here in this new Blood-Trailing Whitetails CD. And I want to let everyone know it's available right now at shopdeerhunting.com. You're going to get the best price anywhere on this product. And Dan, hello, welcome, and hopefully I didn't blow your head up too much in that introduction, but how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Ben. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I'm gonna need some help getting out of my chair here so I don't have like vertigo and fall over. But you're very gracious, and thanks for the great introduction.
Well, terrific. Let's jump right into this. Blood-Trailing Whitetails. Up on the screen here, if you're watching, if you're listening, I'll give you a little bit of a rundown. Basically, what we've done here at Deer Hunting, we've taken 12 in-depth articles that are going to help you unravel the blood trails of deer shot anywhere. The heart, the lungs, liver, paunch, intestines, even, muscle groups, in case that happens, and it does from time to time. It also comes with video clips, posters, charts, really anything except for the deer is how we're going with here. So, Dan, what can you tell me? What's in this? What did you do to put it all together?
Well, Ben, as you know, what we did is we took the very best information that we've had in deer and deer hunting over the years, and that we could get our hands on, and made it a really useful tool for anybody with a PC or a Mac. And some people have one, some people have the other. But even in today's age of the internet, the internet's a great thing, but you can get a lot of misinformation out there. And we wanted to put the best information in the hands of the deer and deer hunting reader, that you're going to have a tool that you can use this year, next year, for the rest of your life, whether you're hunting, whether you're bringing up a young hunter or a new hunter into the group, to really educate you more on blood trailing, how deer are wired, and how to find deer after you shoot them. And as you know, whether you've shot 1 deer or 100 deer, every deer is different. So what we put in here is the important information on deer physiology, how a deer is wired, how it works, how blood works. And once you know the biological aspects of the deer, you're going to be able to make better decisions in the field, whether you're bow hunting, gun hunting, muzzleloader, shotgun, whatever. That when you shoot a deer, you're going to know what steps to take next. So what we did is we've gathered some of the, we have some of the best information in here from guys like Bill Vasnes, John Trout, people who have trailed thousands of deer in their lives as outfitters, as guides, as just hunters. And we put that all so somebody can use this as a tool at camp, at home. If they have time on their lunch hour at the office, they can pop in this CD and they can read the best information. Like I said, it's not just something that somebody's thrown up on a forum somewhere on the internet. We have top physiologists in here, Phil Bishop. He's going to tell you about the science of deer blood, how deer blood works, and then when you shoot a deer, what steps should you take next? How can you analyze your arrow and decide, did that arrow hit the deer through the lungs, did it hit through the paunch, or the intestines? There's a big difference here. There's two major components in a deer's body. You could say, I put the arrow through the deer. Well, did you hit it through the chest cavity or did you hit it through the stomach cavity? Big difference. Did you hit it through the intestines or the paunch? Big difference. And we tell you, you're going to learn what you should do next. And what we have, there's articles on there. Like you said, there's posters. We have our famous skeletal overlays, from the circulatory to the organs, and you can identify and teach yourself exactly how a deer is built. A couple of the other things, as you know, that we have in here is we have some video clips from our Vital Information series from the television show, and that shows, where those arrows and bullets go through the deer and what steps you should take next, and some real in-field examples of hunts from the television show to show you how a deer reacts under certain situations.
Terrific. Yeah. You mentioned that this is something that people are going to be able to use time and time again. And, deer will always be deer. An individual deer will be, of course, different from the next one. But the deer biology, the heart and lungs are always going to be in the same spot, and the paunch is going to be in the same spot. And, this is stuff that once you read it, you're really going to be able to use it all the time. And I can definitely see myself bringing this up to hunting camp and letting people take a look, now that we have a computer in there. It's just something that I can see myself referencing all the time. So these posters that are included digitally, what kind of posters were they? Is there a hair identification guide? Is there a blood identification guide? Because that's something that I would go to for a quick, real quick reference.
Yes, and that's one thing. You're 100% right on all of that, Ben. What we have here is it's a perfect complement if people have already gotten the shot simulator.
Right.
That's a perfect complement to that program. If you don't have the shot simulator, you can get that for your iPhone. You can get it as a download. You can buy the CD. But this blood trailing kit that we have here, this disc, one of the more important things on there, you mentioned, is the hair identification poster that we have in there. It's full color, and you can zoom in on it. A lot of times, if you have one of these things and you don't have it in front of you, it's kind of difficult because hair identification in the field when you're blood trailing is pretty tough. But if you can, if you have to go, you make the shot, you're not sure where you hit that deer, you go back to camp, you pop this onto your laptop or your desktop computer. You can zoom in on that particular poster. We have several of them in there, but the hair identification one in particular, we show you where, and it's very subtle, the variations in the hair between the brisket and the paunch area and the heart area and those types of things. So that's one valuable thing. Another valuable are all the different posters that we have on organs, circulatory and skeletal. It's like I said, when you put this in, you zoom in on it. And as you mentioned, obviously placement of organs within an animal don't change, but what changes are the very subtleties of your shot, how that deer was standing. So when you look at that visual on your screen, you can get a better feel. I think one of the biggest mistakes people think is they always think, well, the deer was standing broadside when I shot. Well, they're very seldom standing perfectly broadside, as you know. It could be, slightly quartering to, slightly quartering away, and when you look at it and you see the proper, when it's anatomically correct as these are, and you look at it, you can say, well, actually, my arrow probably entered a little bit farther back than I thought, and now I know exactly where it went. I mean, I know, it probably went through one lung instead of two lungs. And then after reading the information and looking at our suggestions, you're going to be a better blood trailer because you're going to know, one of the examples in here is we have an article on what to do within the first 50 yards of your blood trail. What are the signs that blood trail is telling you? If you don't find that deer within the first 50 yards, well, what kind of blood sign did you find? Did you find a bed? We're going to take you through the steps, and you're going to learn how wounded deer behave. If he beds in the first 50 yards, what does that mean? We're going to explain that. We're going to explain the 3 toughest acts to follow, which are the 3 toughest blood trails to follow. It gets into all that, and it's something that you need to sit down and consume, and it's something that, like I said, you're going to go back every year and read these things, and you're going to be able to learn how to react under certain situations depending upon where that shot went.
Terrific. Well, as a rule of thumb that I've always heard throughout my hunting career is that, okay, you hit the deer. You hit the deer. You go, you take a look at the impact site. You see some bright red blood. As a rule of thumb, the brighter the blood, the more oxygen it has, so therefore more likely it's a lung hit. Are there, and maybe that's correct, maybe that's not correct, maybe that's the wrong way to look at it, but are there kind of any like blood trailing myths, you might say, that are dispelled in this product?
Actually, that's one of them. You know, as a rule, you would think that the brighter the blood, you know, the better the shot, but it can be tricky. It depends on the size of the deer, if you have a mature animal versus a younger animal. Obviously, bubbles within that blood are going to tell you a lot. You know, a lot of people, the old-time line of thought was bubbles in the blood, definite lung hit. Yes, for the most part. Depends. I've had, and this is just throughout the years, which a lot of the information that's going to come out in this CD product is, you know, you could hit a deer through the esophagus and have a lot of bubbles in the blood, but it's a much tougher deer to follow than a deer that's shot through both lungs. You could hit a deer, well, you could hit a deer in the liver and have the same result, but the blood that's on the ground could be more of a opaque-ish maroon colored. But it really, some of the myths are, well, I would say the biggest myth are there is no cut and dried advice for any particular situation. My biggest advice that I can give anybody is to really be a student observationally of where that deer was standing where you shot it, where it ran, not only where it ran, where was a very precise last spot that you saw it, and any other things that you heard, any other sounds, because those are telltale. Did you hear the deer coughing? It happens. Did you hear the deer make out any kind of sounds? Did you hear a crash? Those are things that you're going to be able to piece together. So there's a combination of things here. The color of the blood, yes. How that blood is on the ground is a big factor, but another myth is, well, we only had a couple pin drops of blood, therefore it must not have been hit very well. That's a myth, because especially bow hunting, you don't know where that arrow went in. You don't even know if that arrow came out. A lot of times you made a perfect shot, and you might only find a drop or two of blood, but that you don't have no exit wound. And so all that blood is pooling up inside the animal. So those are a couple things. But like I said, the two biggest things that I always tell people are where was the deer standing when you shot it, and where was a very precise last point where you saw it run. Because a lot of times in the heat of the moment, you shoot a deer, you think you made a great shot, and the only thing you focused on is where he was standing when you shot him. Okay. But where was he when you last saw him? I don't know. You got so excited. You know, if there was somebody filming you, you give him a high five, or you wanted to go ahead and text your friends and say you just shot a deer and you didn't pay any attention where it ran. That's where a lot of people make a mistake.
Well, that's very true. People get the buck fever. I mean, I've been there too, where you just made the shot and oh my gosh, I can hardly contain myself. I'm so excited. But you know, that's the focus time. I mean, you got to really pay attention to what's going on around you and pay attention to what happened after the shot. And it can get really, you can distract yourself from what you need to know. And that's why I think something like this is so important, because you're going to educate yourself about what to do after the shot. And you're going to know what to look for. You're going to know what to listen for. And maybe that'll tone down your buck fever a little bit. I still get it myself, though.
Well, it happens to everybody. It happens to me. I mean, if you've seen me on TV, I'm shaking after every shot that I take, whether it's a doe or a buck. And the one thing I wanted to impress on everybody, Ben, is what you alluded to here. You know, what you're going to find in this CD is more than just basic information. This is for somebody who, you know, this is to make you more educated, to put you over the top, because blood trailing is a very serious and it's a very meticulous art. Yeah, I mean, you shoot a deer through both lungs, it runs 40, 50, 60 yards and falls over dead. That's not a very hard blood trail to follow. The ones that are hard to follow are, for whatever reason, you get one long, you hit it through the top of the heart. You know, a thing that people don't understand is a deer that's shot directly through the heart can run 300 yards easily. I mean, because a deer can run, you know, 20-some miles an hour. you do the math, it doesn't take a deer very long to cover that distance. Now, even when a deer is hit that well and it covers that much ground, there's certain things you need to know. There's certain things that you need to learn that, like I said, go beyond the basics. And like I said, that's what you alluded to. It's things that you have to really become a student of, not only shot placement, but you have to become a student of deer biology. It goes back to the whole old axiom when we're in high school and you're doing algebra and you say, when am I ever going to use this? That's kind of what this is like. Well, what is it? Why should I care that deer have high levels of vitamin K in their blood? We're going to tell you why. Because they call a deer's circulatory system a working hospital. Once you understand that, you're going to start dismissing all those old-time myths that a lot of people embrace, and they give up too early. What they say is, well, the deer must not have been hit that bad, or it went to water, and therefore it must have not been wounded that bad because it was drinking. No, you dismiss those myths because once you learn the biology, once you learn the physiology, you understand that these animals are incredibly, they're built to survive. But they're also, they're not infallible. You killed it, now it's just a matter of finding it.
Right. Well, that's really interesting. I'd just like to remind everyone that it's available right now at shopdeerhunting.com. We're recording this in August, so it's available for pre-order right now. But no matter when you go to check this out, you're going to get the best price at shopdeerhunting.com. And as you alluded to before there, Dan, this is a perfect complement to the shot simulator. If you have the app, if you have the CD, if you have the deluxe edition CD, you're going to find that this is a real nice complement to that shot simulator. And that's one of the most popular things at shopdeerhunting.com. And if you don't have the shot simulator, I mean, first off, I recommend get it now because it is a lot of fun to work with. But if you don't have it, this is a standalone product. This is something that you can appreciate on its own, and it's going to have a ton of great information. So shopdeerhunting.com is where you're going to want to pick that up. And Dan, I thank you for your time today and sharing some insights on what's inside here, and also just talking about blood trailing in general. You're always a terrific resource.
Hey, thanks a lot, Ben, and to you and to everyone listening, I hope you have a great
My name is Ben Sobiek. I'm online editor with Deer and Deer Hunting magazine. Today I'm going to be talking with our editor-in-chief, Dan Schmidt. Of course, he needs no introduction, but we're going to be talking about the new Blood-Trailing Whitetails CD, and I'm excited to be here talking with Dan. I mean, to be frank, sure, I work with him just about every day here on the magazine and on some other things, but I consider him to be an educator, a mentor, someone I can go to with any question about a deer, and he's going to have the right answer every time. And I'm excited because a lot of what I've learned over the past few years working with Dan is right here in this new Blood-Trailing Whitetails CD. And I want to let everyone know it's available right now at shopdeerhunting.com. You're going to get the best price anywhere on this product. And Dan, hello, welcome, and hopefully I didn't blow your head up too much in that introduction, but how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Ben. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I'm gonna need some help getting out of my chair here so I don't have like vertigo and fall over. But you're very gracious, and thanks for the great introduction.
Well, terrific. Let's jump right into this. Blood-Trailing Whitetails. Up on the screen here, if you're watching, if you're listening, I'll give you a little bit of a rundown. Basically, what we've done here at Deer Hunting, we've taken 12 in-depth articles that are going to help you unravel the blood trails of deer shot anywhere. The heart, the lungs, liver, paunch, intestines, even, muscle groups, in case that happens, and it does from time to time. It also comes